Right now, there is a classified program running inside the United States government that has direct access to your Gmail, your iMessages, your Google searches, your Facebook DMs, your Skype calls, not hackers, not some foreign government, your government, and the companies you use every single day Google, Apple, Microsoft, Facebook. They built the door. The NSA just walked through it. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This isn't Reddit speculation. This is documented, confirmed, in the government's own slides, in their own words. The program is called PRISM, and in 2013, a 29-year-old NSA contractor named Edward Snowden walked out of a building in Hawaii with a thumb drive full of proof and handed it to journalists. He blew up his entire life, his career, his country. He's been living in exile ever since because he wanted you to know this was happening. Here's the part that should make you furious. You were never supposed to find out. The program had existed for years, millions of people's data collected, stored, analyzed, and not one public hearing, not one vote, not one news story, just silence. And the crazy thing, after Snowden, after the leaks, after the global outrage, the program is still running, right now. But here's what they should have told you. Here's what Snowden actually revealed. Here's how they made it legal. And here's what that means for every message you send today. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly what PRISM is, which companies are in it, how the government legally justified spying on you, what a FISA court is, and why it approves basically everything, and what actually happens to your data right now. This one matters. Let's get into it. Let's start with what we actually know. PRISM is a code name. It stands for nothing. It's just the name the NSA gave to one of their most powerful surveillance programs. Here's what it does. PRISM allows the NSA, the National Security Agency, which is the US government's intelligence arm, to collect stored internet communications directly from major tech companies. Emails, chats, file transfers, photos, videos, voice calls, search histories, social media activity, not metadata, not just who called who, the actual content, your actual words. Edward Snowden leaked internal NSA presentation slides in 2013, real slides, the government's own PowerPoints, and those slides showed that NSA analysts could perform, and I'm quoting directly here, extensive in-depth surveillance on live communications and stored information. Live, as in real time. Stored, as in everything you've already sent. The slides named the companies: Facebook, Google, Apple, Microsoft, Yahoo, Skype, YouTube, AOL, Paltalk, 9 companies, at the time of the leak. And here's the thing nobody told you. That list has almost certainly grown since 2013. The program didn't stop, the companies didn't change, the surveillance didn't shrink. It's been over a decade. The digital world got bigger, the data collection almost certainly got bigger with it. Now here's the part that's going to mess with your head. This wasn't illegal. Not technically. They didn't break into Google's servers in the middle of the night. They passed a law. Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, that's the legal foundation for PRISM. Let me break that down. The government said, we need to spy on foreign terrorists. Fine. Nobody argues with that. But here's the problem. The communications between foreign targets and American citizens, those get collected too, because they're in the same email thread, the same chat, the same server, and once that data is collected, NSA analysts can search through it. American citizens included, they call it incidental collection, which is one of the most cynical uses of the word incidental in the English language. Here's what incidental actually means in practice. The government targets a foreign person's account. That foreign person emailed an American, now that American's email is in the database, and it can be searched without a warrant. Without that American ever knowing, you could be in that database right now because of an email you sent to someone overseas, a study abroad friend, a pen pal, a company you ordered from, a professor, anyone, and you'd never know. So who's watching the watchers? There's a special court, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, called the FISA Court. It's a secret court, as in, it meets in secret. The hearings are classified. You can't observe. You can't appeal as a citizen. You don't even know what's being decided. The FISA Court was created in 1978 specifically to oversee government surveillance requests. The idea was, okay, the government needs to spy sometimes, but let's have judges review it. Checks and balances. Sounds reasonable. Here's what actually happened. Between 1979 and 2012, that's 33 years, the government made approximately 34,000 surveillance requests to the FISA court. The court rejected 11 of them, 11 out of 34,000. That's an approval rate of 99.97%. Let me be direct. That is not a check on power. That is a rubber stamp with extra steps. When a court says yes to everything, it stops being a court and starts being a permission machine. And because everything is secret, the requests, the reasoning, the decisions, there's no public accountability. No journalist can report on it. No senator can grandstand about it. No citizen can challenge it. You cannot fight back. Okay. So, what does this mean for you personally today in 2026? A few things. First, Section 702 has been reauthorized. Multiple times, Congress voted to keep it running in 2018, again in 2024. The program is alive. The legal authority is intact. Second, the NSA has what are called upstream and downstream collection methods. Downstream is PRISM, pulling data directly from companies. Upstream is even more aggressive. It involves tapping the actual cables and infrastructure that internet traffic flows through. So even if a tech company claims they're protecting you, the data might be grabbed before it even arrives at their servers. Third, the FBI and CIA can also access the PRISM database, not just the NSA, multiple agencies, multiple analysts, all searching through the same pile of collected American communications. Now, are they reading your specific emails right now? Probably not. There are 335 million Americans. They're not obsessing over your brunch plans, but here's the real problem. And this is what Snowden actually said mattered most. The infrastructure exists, the capability exists, the legal authority exists. Right now, who runs the government determines how that capability gets used. Different administrations have different priorities, different definitions of threat, different definitions of who they're watching. The system that was built to catch foreign terrorists can be pointed at anyone: journalists, activists, protesters, political opponents. History isn't abstract. COINTELPRO was the FBI's program from the 1950s through the 1970s that secretly surveilled and sabotaged civil rights leaders. Martin Luther King Jr. was wiretapped. His private calls, his private letters, the government used it to try to destroy him. They didn't need PRISM for that. Imagine what they could do with it. So what can you actually do? Here's what's real. End-to-end encrypted messaging apps, Signal is the most trusted one, mean that even if communications are intercepted, they can't be read. The NSA can see that you sent a message. They cannot read what it said. That matters. A VPN doesn't make you invisible, but it does add a layer between your traffic and anyone watching it. Using search engines that don't log your queries, like DuckDuckGo, means less data sitting in a searchable company database. These aren't paranoid choices. These are the same choices that journalists, lawyers, doctors, and activists already make. Because they understood this years ago. You're not powerless, but you have to choose. Here's the one thing I want you to leave with. This isn't about whether you have something to hide. That's the argument they always use. If you've done nothing wrong, you have nothing to fear. That argument assumes the government will always define wrong the same way. That the people in power will always agree with your politics, your identity, your beliefs. That the rules will never change. History says, don't count on it. Privacy isn't about hiding. It's about having a life that isn't recorded, stored, and searchable by people with power over you. Edward Snowden gave up everything for you to know this exists. The least we can do is actually know it. Download Signal. It takes 3 minutes. Send your first encrypted message today. That's your action. That's where you start.